Tonight's story opens in the fragile space between survival and identity. Those hours so quiet they almost echo, where love, guilt, and desperation blur into a single choice you can never undo. I was cornered and broke. My landlord made me an offer I should have walked away from. I never imagined my entire life could collapse into one unbearable decision. The eviction notice sat on the nightstand like a curse, a final warning. I hadn't shown Kevin the second one. I couldn't. He lay beside me, face relaxed, still holding the trace of the man who once believed he could fix any problem. That belief had slipped from him the way our money had, quietly, completely. 3 months behind, $42.17 left in the bank. 6 years of marriage had taught us how to weather disasters. But this wasn't a disaster. It was suffocation, slow, heavy, soundless. Kevin's job had disappeared in a restructuring 4 months back. It crushed him. He stopped looking me in the eyes, stopped shaving, stopped imagining a future. I sold clothes, babysat, filled out surveys for pocket change, even pawned my wedding ring. I kept telling myself love wasn't a gem. It was what the gem once promised. But groceries don't wait. They fade faster than hope. The apartment seemed to shrink, its walls soaking up our fear. That's when Marcus came back into the frame. Our landlord, mid-30s, built like he carried burdens that didn't belong to him. Not cruel, but impossible to read. Extensions weren't part of his vocabulary. That night, long after Kevin slipped into restless sleep, I found myself walking across the courtyard barefoot, hoodie pulled tight around me. His hallway smelled faintly of bleach and smoke. I knocked. He opened the door almost instantly. "Jessica," he said, voice steady. He wanted to talk. His place was spotless, too clean, too empty. I stood small beneath the buzz of his silence. "We're behind," I whispered. "I just need a little time, please." He watched me for what felt like minutes. "Time doesn't settle accounts," he said. I nodded, swallowing what was left of my dignity. "I could file tomorrow," he added, calm as a warning. My heart stumbled. Then his voice softened, though not kindly. "There is another option." The way he said it chilled me, not in cruelty but in certainty. I didn't speak. The air between us filled with everything I wasn't ready to acknowledge. When I finally left, the night felt sharp enough to slice through me. By morning, my chest ached with all the words I couldn't say. 11 days until eviction, maybe less. I couldn't tell Kevin, not because he wouldn't understand, but because he would. Sandra called later that day. She heard it in my voice. "You sound like you're fading," she said. I let out a hollow laugh. "I just need a way out." That evening, Kevin came home with yet another rejection letter. Too qualified. His fist hit the table. A plate split in two. "Maybe we should just leave," he muttered. "Sleep in the car." Start over." "Start over with what?" I asked. But he had already disappeared into the bedroom. Hours later, I sat in the dark, staring at our bank app. Still 42.17. My thumb hovered over Marcus's number. The message I sent contained only 3 words. "Can we talk?" When he opened the door this time, there were no explanations left between us. Only silence heavy enough to drown in. What happened next wasn't affection, wasn't solace. It was desperation exchanged for survival. A debt paid in a currency I didn't know how to name. Afterward, I walked home through the freezing air. Kevin slept on the couch, breathing steady. I stood over him and whispered into the dark. "It's over." But it wasn't over at all. The days melted together. Food tasted like nothing. I told him I was just exhausted. He smiled gently, trying to believe me. That night, a folded paper slid under our door. "Balance, $0, no message, no explanation." Sandra called again. "You sound different," she said. "I did something," I replied. A long pause. "Did you get the money?" "Sort of." Silence. Then her voice softened. "That doesn't make you a bad person, Jess. It makes you human." But I didn't feel human. I felt cracked, like glass that holds its shape even as fractures spread inside it. A week later, Kevin found work. Logistics. Long hours. Real pay. His relief filled the apartment like sunlight I couldn't step into. Marcus passed me by the mailbox once, eyes straight ahead, his expression blank. For him it was done. For me, it was a wound that refused to heal. That night I stood in front of the mirror, tracing the tired woman staring back. Not destroyed, not whole, just altered. And I wondered when surviving had begun to feel so much like shame.